Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Good Movie YouTube channel. Here is the content for episode 152 of A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. At the end of the previous episode, after squandering dozens of fireball talismans, Han Li quickly became the center of discussion. Everyone assumed he must be the descendant of some major immortal cultivation family. Even though no one had ever heard a Han family in Xi State wealthy enough to spend so extravagantly, amidst the lively discussions, some also suggested that he had no talent other than throwing talismans. Han Li heard everything but maintained a calm expression. The next day, the second round of the Sword Trial Grand Assembly continued. When his name was called, many people below whispered that Han Li was a prodigal son. His opponent this time was a refined-looking young male disciple, neatly dressed and carrying only a single storage pouch. His face still held a hint of innocence, but his eyes were filled with solemnity as he looked at Han Li. When the begin command echoed, Han Li reached into his storage pouch, but his opponent was a step faster. Two streaks of white light flashed, and two gleaming ice awls shot toward Han Li. Simultaneously, the young disciple's body charged forward. He had learned from Han Li, using talismans to pressure his opponent before engaging in close combat. Han Li paused for a moment, then chuckled. He showed no panic, his body darting, easily avoiding the two ice awls. Seeing his opponent rushing towards him with joyful expression, Han Li swung his hand. A stream of golden light emitted from his palm, but before the object in his hand could be launched, his body blurred and then vanished without a trace using the Luo Yen step. The young disciple missed a strike and was utterly surprised. The net-shaped magical artifact in his hand also dimmed. Before he could regain his composure and search for Han Li, a sharp pain suddenly struck the back of his neck, and then his vision turned dark. He collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The entire arena was once again in an uproar. A few more knowledgeable disciples recognized that Han Li's movement technique originated from mortal martial arts, but a mastery of this level they had truly never seen before. Time passed very quickly. On the 13th day, the final selection round of the sect's internal competition at Luo Yun Sect concluded. At the same time, in a tower on the main mountainside, 7 or 8 core formation stage cultivators gathered to discuss who would lead the team for the upcoming Sword Trial Grand Assembly. As the meeting proceeded, a late Foundation establishment stage male entered, carrying the list of finally selected disciples. In total, there were 3 Foundation establishment stage disciples and 21 Qi refining stage cultivators. When the jade slip was passed among the elders, everyone revealed expressions of surprise and uncertainty. In particular, Elder Xian, the Peak Lord of Heavenly Spring Peak, blinked repeatedly, looking quite astonished. It turned out that among the selected individuals, his Heavenly Spring Peak had 6 people, a surprising number that made the other peaks feel ashamed and a little envious. What's more, among them were 2 Qi refining stage disciples who had only recently joined the sect a few years ago, Du Dong and Han Li. At this time, the late Foundation establishment stage male explained. Du Dong possessed a Cold Moon Wheel, a top-tier ice-attributed magical artifact with immense power, capable of freezing opponents after just one move. This artifact was said to be the treasured artifact of the Du family, a clan that had been annihilated 200 years prior. As for Han Li, he did not possess high-level magical artifacts, but he was renowned for his generous style of attack. In his first battle, he used over 30 fireball talismans simultaneously to defeat his opponent. In subsequent matches, he exhibited mortal martial arts and ingenious fire manipulation techniques combined with the assistance of talismans. Although costly, investigations showed that he was a rogue cultivator proficient in talisman crafting and came from a well-off family, so using many talismans was not an issue. Also at this moment, right after the final round of the competition concluded, Han Li suddenly discovered that the soul-suppressing pearl in his body became scorching hot, signaling that the soul-binding beast had officially advanced. He immediately returned to his cave dwelling. Upon entering, he was startled out of his wits. The room had become dim and eerie, filled with black demonic qi and chilling cold. The soul-binding beast had vanished, replaced by a circular cocoon over his zhong tall, glowing black with dark light flowing on its surface. He was also eagerly anticipating what form the soul-binding beast would transform into. Not long after, the chilling demonic qi was strongly absorbed into black cocoon. Subsequently, black light in the stone chamber shone dazzlingly. A black shadow shot straight out, startling Han Li, who instinctively prepared to dodge, but then remembering something, he stood still. Instantly, a tiny, icy-cold object flew into Han Li's chest and was caught by him. This is... Hanli looked at the small object in his hand in astonishment. It was a beautiful little monkey, no bigger than a fist. Without a doubt, it was a soul-binding beast after its evolution. Except for its fur changing from silver-white to jet black, other parts were almost unchanged. But upon closer inspection, Hanli discovered two differences. Below the soul-binding beast's nose, another small hole appeared, and on its back, there was an additional ghost face pattern. This couldn't help but disappoint him. Given such a huge commotion, he had thought the soul-binding beast would transform into some incredibly cool form. Just as he was talking to the little monkey, a sound transmission talisman unexpectedly arrived. Inside it was clearly written, Hanli, Heavenly Spring Peak, select to participate in the Sword Trial Grand Assembly. A summons will arrive shortly. Proceed to White Phoenix Peak to receive guidance from Martial Uncle Song. After reading it, he was involuntarily stunned. Martial Uncle Song, White Phoenix Peak, wasn't at the core formation stage female cultivator, known as the #1 beauty of Luo Yun's sect? Not long after, Hanli arrived at Chow Phone Pavilion to receive guidance from Martial Uncle Song. At this moment, she sat on the second floor, with her back to him. Sensing someone's arrival, she slightly turned her head, and her voice echoed, saying, You haven't been in the sect long. If you have any questions about cultivation, you can come and ask me. Following her voice, Hanli clearly felt that the other party was using a spiritual probing secret technique. This made him find the woman somewhat interesting. This concludes episode 152 of A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. Please subscribe to the Good Movie channel to watch the next episode. Goodbye and see you all in the next videos.